When we hear about blacks in 20th century history, we think about segregation, discrimination, and the overcoming of those difficult realities by African American heroes like Martin Luther King Jr. and Rosa Parks. When we hear about blacks in sports, we think about Jesse Owens, who went into a Nazi-controlled Germany and won 4 gold medals, or we think of Jackie Robinson, who broke the color barrier in baseball. We hardly hear about the Negro team that Jackie Robinson played on prior to joining the Brooklyn Dodgers, or about the general manager, Branch Rickey, who agreed to sign Jackie Robinson. Most of what we hear about in black sports history has to do with the individuals that rose above the cultural stereotype and overcame the segregation or discrimination. But what about the individuals who were not in the spotlight? The individuals who created the opportunities for ball players like Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella to break the color barrier. There have been many people involved in establishing the opportunities for black ball players to succeed. Had it not been for men like Rube Foster, Cum Posey, Gus Greenlee, and Branch Rickey, there would have never been that glorious day in April when Jackie Robinson stepped onto Ebbets Field as the first black professional player in Major League Baseball. The color line in baseball was drawn in 1887 when African Americans were banned from playing on white teams. Black Americans responded by developing their own teams and leagues outside the white league structure. There were many attempts for promoters of black baseball to establish a league for black athletes, recorded as early as the 1860s. In 1920, an organized league structure was formed under the guidance of Andrew Rube Foster, a former player, manager, and owner for the Chicago American Giants. The second attempt at a Negro baseball league was established in the 1930s. In 1931, William Augustus Gus Greenlee purchased a sandlot team called the Pittsburgh Crawfords and eventually turned them into a major team in the Negro Leagues. In 1933, Greenlee announced plans to establish a new league, the Negro National Association of Baseball Clubs, commonly referred to as the Negro National League or the NNL. Although Greenlee was not well liked in the beginning, especially by Cum Posey, manager and owner of the Homestead Grays, another Negro League team, Greenlee eventually became president of the NNL and a major financial backer of many teams and the league itself. While Greenlee, Posey, and other league owners and officials did what they could to impact black baseball, they were never able to accomplish what Branch Rickey did. On October 23, 1945, Branch Rickey, general manager and president of the Brooklyn Dodgers, offered a major league contract to a black ball player named Jackie Robinson. While with the Dodgers, Rickey made it a point to voice his disapproval of the color barrier. He was quoted in saying, "The color line was not only wrong, but stupid. A good baseball team should get the best players possible, no matter what their color." While Rickey was determined to find a quality black player from the Negro Leagues, he needed to be very cautious of who he decided to bring up. To make his decision, Rickey relied heavily on his scouts and made it clear to them that he wanted an athletic, focused, and hard-working player. More importantly, he wanted a player who was focused and disciplined enough to take the criticism from opponents, fans, and possibly even teammates without fighting back. The player Rickey chose, Jackie Robinson, had played interracial sports all his life. He became the first athlete in UCLA history to earn major letters in 4 different sports in the same year, those sports being baseball, football, basketball, and track. Rickey selected him carefully, judging that he had both the talent and the character needed to endure the inevitable attacks by opponents of integration in baseball. The picture of Jackie Robinson and Branch Rickey was taken at the signing of Robinson's 1947 season contract to play for the Brooklyn Dodgers. On April 15, 1947, Jackie Robinson made his Major League debut with the Dodgers and became the first African American Major League Baseball player in the modern era. Jackie Robinson had a successful career with the Brooklyn Dodgers from 1947 to 1956, the Dodgers being the only team Robinson ever played for. He retired after the 1956 season. Following Ricky's lead, some major league clubs were quick to integrate, with the Dodgers having 4 or 5 blacks on their roster by the mid-1950s. In the end, it took the efforts of black and white men and women working together to make the league a catalyst in breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball. Had it not been for men like Rube Foster, Gus Greenlee, Cum Posey, or Branch Rickey, who knows when baseball would have been integrated. With continued segregation throughout American history, we may have never had the pleasure of watching players like Jackie Robinson, Roy Campanella, or even Hank Aaron, who were all products of Negro baseball. Why did it take Major League Baseball so long to sign an African American player? In January 1946, Major League owners and league officials wrote a secret report on the possibility of blacks breaking the color line. The report forcefully recommended that blacks not be allowed into the major leagues. A vote was taken and passed 15-1 in favor of keeping blacks out. The only vote against was Branch Rickey. Were there any other positive effects that Branch Rickey had on baseball? While working for the St. Louis Cardinals in the 1930s, Rickey created baseball's minor league system, or farm system, as we also call it. Rickey would also continue to use his scouts and his ownership of the Brooklyn Brown Bombers, a Negro team, to sign more blacks to the Dodgers.